me
This
push
call is
record
being
here.
recorded.
All right, we can open it up to questions here. Whoever wants to go first.
I'm ready to go if no one else has one pressing. Richie, how you doing today?
Good, mate. How are you?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Got in early enough to hear the full presser this time, so I'm patting myself on the back. Got over my tech difficulties.
Good for you, mate.
After the last game, you mentioned, not that it's abnormal, but you mentioned wanting to check a few things with the match data. I'm sure you've had time to rewatch the game. After having some time to really digest it and go over and analyze what you saw, is there anything that jumped out at you as being better than you initially thought or worse than you initially thought coming off on Saturday?
Jason, I watched the game at least 3 times. One, just to verify what I'd seen initially. Secondly, for analysis on out of possession, and then the last one for analysis in possession. So a minimum of 3 times, and then checking it again, and clipped so many different instances that we could learn from. We did our match review video session today, and I was disappointed in a lot of things. But in analysis, given that we were man for man at the back an awful lot of the time, I thought our back 3 defended very, very well. I think our countermeasures were not where we wanted them to be, and we were a little bit too disconnected with our wing back play. So yeah, there was a couple of things that we looked at that we talked about today as a collective, and I think we identified a couple of areas where we fell short, and we also looked at the lack of penetration, lack of runs in behind their back line. I think Trinity's one and Helfety's one in the first half with a couple of occasions that we actually got in beyond them in on goal one-on-one. So that's one of the things we want to try and resolve as well.
Looking ahead at Louisville, I didn't get a chance to really I had the game on, their game, but I didn't really get a chance to watch it. So I'm actually got about 10 minutes in and I had to pause it for this call. What were your thoughts on them? What were your first impressions, and what are you emphasizing for the group going into playing them on Thursday?
Well, the emphasis for us is to get back being us. Regardless of what formation or system we play, our basic tenets of ball retention and ball recovery are the two pieces of identity that we want to get back to. We keep the ball as much as we can, we share as much as we can, and then when we don't have it, we try and get it back as quickly as we possibly can. There are the foundation of what we try and do. So making sure that they play a little 4-2-3-1. They've got a little bit of flexibility with McCaskill, who's a good footballer, who floats off all kinds of different shapes, and gives you a little bit of unconventional look. So dealing with that aspect out of possession is important for us. But just getting back and making them chase and making them try and get the ball off us, make it very difficult for them to get the ball off us in certain areas, will be a big key for us going into Thursday's match.
Hey, Richie, this is Kellen Song from Washington City Faber.
Hey, Kellen, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I think one of the highlights from the last match was Trinity Robinson, and now that she's been on the team for a couple months, she's still a really young player. How do you think she's adjusting to the professional game? Like, what do you think she's even improved on since the time she's been with the Spirit?
Trin's been fantastic, and while she continues on the track that she's on right now, hungry for information, very open-minded, sponge-like when you're offering feedback to her, and always looking to analyze video and match tape and game film. So while she keeps on that track, she's going to be very, very, very positive and a good trajectory. And she's got a great trend and habit. She's got a great mindset. So, she slipped into the professional game very, very well. Some players, take some time, adapting to the professional game after playing in college, and she hasn't had to, unlearn some of the habits that you have to get into in college play. So her trajectory's been good, and her mindset's been fantastic. And I think if she keeps on the same bent that she's on right now, with that thirst for tactical growth, she'll be fine. She's an incredible athlete. She's quick across the ground. She closes people down quicker than defenders realize. And it's just getting her in the right spots and making the right type of movements and understanding our flow that she's been very much focused on. And I think she's done a great job so far.
And this is kind of, I guess, off the field, but obviously, she's always had, I guess, she's always been in the headlines. And, I was just looking online after last game, and, publications that typically don't cover sports was writing about Trinity Rodman. Do you, as a coach, do you see that impacting her, or is she kind of just used to that attention at this point? And what do you think her potential is as being like a household name, as a like a star athlete, household name?
Everybody's talking about Trinity Robinson. She's played 35 minutes of a professional game in Challenge Cup. She scored a great goal. It was a lovely ball over the top. She's an 18-year-old kid, and the burden of having a father like she's got, and everybody in the media talking about her. My project is to make sure she stays grounded, make sure she continues to grow as a footballer and get better, and managing all of the media attention so it doesn't distract her and detract from how she's going to play on the field for us. We don't just have a team with one player. We have an 18-year-old kid who's got a very popular last name, who's becoming better and better every time she plays for us. Managing her and making sure she stays on track and on a pathway that is going to benefit her career, but also us as a football club, is key. And I've seen a lot of young players in the game, not do well with the burden that people are putting on her right now. So, I'm more concerned that media outlets and our media communications department need to manage it properly before she gets this type of weight on her shoulders having a negative effect.
Thanks, Richie.
Welcome.
Richie, I've got a couple more for you.
Yeah.
Big surprise, right? I know Takarada and Speckmeyer played their international matches with Japan and Venezuela. I know that's a really tight turnaround with so much travel, but is there any chance they'll be able to participate in some kind of way on Thursday?
I hope so, Jace. Hope so. Takarada gets in tonight. She's got to get into our testing protocol and get negative tests. We have to check to see what the medical task force are saying to us about her meeting those protocols. And if she does, then she'll certainly participate on Thursday. Speckmeyer coming from Spain is another issue. If they are in time and they can pass the protocols, they will certainly participate to some extent on Thursday, both of them. But at this stage, we are, we're hoping that we can get them through approval to play, number one, through the medical protocols, and number two, that they are, not quarantined or they are not jet lagged. That's the big issue. See how they hold up tomorrow physically as well.
Speaking of that, the quick turnaround your team faced, the players that you had available for the weekend, do you have any more new injury or loading concerns, given that it's so early in the season and you're having to go from you're not doing the Saturday thing, you've got a midweek game all of a sudden?
Yeah, we would know. Our typical flow would be we'd have our game plan presentation on a Wednesday, so the players would know who's playing on a Saturday, and we'd be working on things on the training ground to get the movement and the subgroup understanding and all of the tactical pieces right, leading into a Saturday match. So well before a game, players are aware of who's starting, who's playing, and what we expect to do with all the aspects of the professional game. But we couldn't even do a presentation on players today because some of them are reporting still with some pains and aches. So we're gonna have to do it tomorrow, the day before a game, which is a lot worse than I would have expected. But there are a couple of players that I'm still a little bit concerned about. Hatchie is one who we're not quite sure how Hatchie's going to report tomorrow. She reports well and we can get a dry needle and we can get some treatment done for her, and she'll be in the mix. But, there's a potential that she might have to come off the bench on Thursday, depending on how she reports tomorrow. A couple of others carrying. Tori Houston's another one. But Tori's such a warrior. She'll play through pain. She'll push it to the limit because she wants to play and she wants to do well for this football club. Paige Nielsen's carrying a little bit of a niggle as well. So, yeah, there's players fighting through this tough period and this tough turnaround. And it's pleasing for me that we've got that type of committed players and that type of player who, could easily say, Richie, look, I'm done. I can't play. But instead, they're like, look, I'm going to push through this and we'll see what I can do. And that's a real pleasing piece for me.
Hey, Richie, it's Emily.
How are you?
A question about Julia Rotter. She came off in that game on the weekend because she wasn't quite there. How far off do you think she is from, maybe 90 minutes, maybe more, in what you've seen from her?
We're hoping she can do 90 on Thursday. That was a tough one with the climate and the opponent and the circumstance and, even the role that she was playing. She was unaccustomed to that role too. So to get, the 65, 68, I think it was, minutes we got out of her, the irony, it was 5 minutes before that I'm asking her, we're looking at the match data to see where she was. She's like, I'm fine. And she makes one mad run down the line and she's like, oh, I'm actually not fine. I need to come. So she was very professional about it. And, because she's such a good pro, she was with the masseuse on Sunday, did a lot of recovery today. Same on Monday. She was on the bike, doing a recovery ride, a lactic flush, and she looked okay in training today. So if she reports well tomorrow, we'll go through our tactical setup and hopefully she'll get a 90, and she's close. And we can hope that by the time we get into the regular season, she should be well up to speed.
And another aspect of these games so far, I don't know how much you've kind of analyzed or watched the others, Racing Louisville included, they've been very physical and also high scoring. From a coaching standpoint, have you had to, adjust game plans just based on that opening weekend and the physicality and also the offensive involvement? I mean, every team's coming in with, that shortened preseason, the obvious weird training schedule, but, just curious about any adjustments you've made based on what you saw opening weekend.
Yeah, Paul Ryan had a big, long conversation about that after the game on Saturday about having to make, adjustments to your game planning for certain periods in the game. The last 20 minutes or so, players are on fumes and you're trying to manage their loading levels to make sure that there's no breakdown or there's no injury when you've got them at that spike level, and you're concerned about that. But, also players' sharpness is not great. So there's missed time tackles left, right, and center. And players are not as mobile and not as explosive as you want them to be because of the way we've had to periodize a 10-week preseason, which is, it's unheard of. No one has ever in their lives ever gone through that. We were making comparisons between how they've managed their 10 weeks versus ours and seeing if there could be, some benefit in hearing what other people are doing. I'm sure there's other clubs around the league doing exactly the same thing. But we have certainly not done what I think the best thing as a league to set these players up to succeed in these early matches with the ridiculously long preseason and also the fact that we haven't been able to get them many matches. It's okay having a preseason, but on Saturday was only the fourth occasion that we've played a 90-minute game, but we brought the players in February 1, which is from our high performance perspective, not ideal. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on in these early matches that we're taking a look at, and they are a direct result of what we put these players through from a preparatory standpoint.
And then my final question, kind of building on that, do you think that there, with both the rotation you have to make from weekend to midweek game, but also the competition style, do you think that this tournament can provide any of those 90-minute games, or is it completely different from how you would normally play these preseason friendlies?
It's complete. It's a tough one, then, because you're looking at results as well, right? So it's results oriented. You got to be getting results if you advance and win the Challenge Cup and finish top of your group. But in preseason, most of the time, they are purely for preparatory purposes. You're advancing the loading levels. You're looking on your tactical periodization. You're looking at how you want to make sure your team's effectiveness is in certain areas and certain zones of the field. So the preseason process is purely that. This Challenge Cup has got a little bit of a balance. You're preparing all those aspects, but you're also trying to get a result too. So, we played 5 players on the weekend who making their Spirit/NWSL debuts. We played 4 players who are completely in uncustomary roles, unfamiliar roles for them. So we would not have done that if we're trying to win every single match. We were forced to do that. So it's a real tough balance for us to go after results and also use it for the benefit of the players. And I'm not, that's not just my problem. I think that's a problem for every coach. Everyone I've spoken to, are lamenting the fact that they prepare to play with key players and they've been moved on for international games. So playing in the FIFA window was a huge faux pas by the league. I think everybody would agree that one. And now we're trying to play a management role of managing your team, managing your squad, managing your tactics, managing your players, managing the results, and managing the fan expectations. It's a real tough one for coaches. So I'm trying to downplay it, make sure that we keep our players in a real good trajectory, because the eye on the prize for us is when the season gets started and making sure we're ready to go then. So, it's a real tough one.
Thanks, Richie.
Welcome.
All right, one more question if anyone has one. Otherwise, we'll be all set.
I had a quick question. I'm Andre. I'm right for Black and Red United. How are you doing, Richie?
Hey, Andre. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good. My question is just, Trinity Robinson wasn't the only rookie out there. Anna Helfredy was making her debut. Can you kind of assess her performance and let us know if wing back is something you see for a long term, or is that like one of those positions that you were talking about kind of being forced into?
Yeah, she's one of the ones who, again, a kid making a NWSL debut against Paul Riley's North Carolina Courage in that stadium and has to play a wingback role, a real tough one for that kid. I thought she was great. I made reference, players who've watched our football club for a while will know that, Dorian Bailey, when she came into the club in 2019, she came in and played sort of unfamiliar roles as well. And she had a similar situation against North Carolina. She had a one-on-one and went through and missed it. And Anna had a great chance in the first half, a great little sequence. She threw one-on-one and missed it. And I said to Anna, look, listen, if you get on in the next 2 years to become half the player Dorian Bailey's done, your career will be on a great trajectory. And rather than, lambaste her for missing that chance, she's a rookie. And she was asked to do a very tough job, which I thought she did really, really well. I don't know if that's where we envision her playing moving forward. But, she's able to step in and do that job and did it really well. Thought there was times when she could have done a little bit better. She was a little bit wasteful with the ball. But, we looked at the game film, and again, she's a rookie. It's her first match. I think there's plenty to come from that kid, and I was pretty pleased with the shift she actually put in. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for your time, and I will see most of you on Thursday.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.